What's up creatives, this is Tom, welcome back to another video. I've got an exciting one for you today. A lot of you guys have been asking for it. This is my Canon 90D rig. There we go, that's a closer look at the rig. We're going to be going through this rig build piece by piece. I'm going to tear it down, I'm going to build it up from the ground. We're going to talk a little bit about this rig and why I've gone with this as a configuration. This is actually using the new SmallRig cage system, which they've just released for the 90D. So I think this is probably going to be one of the first rig builds out for this camera, which is quite exciting. I absolutely love building these camera rig videos. So if you do enjoy them and you are interested in seeing this build, hit a like on this video. It lets me know that you guys like this type of content. I'll keep producing more of it. Before we do actually go straight into the build and actually building the rig from the beginning up, there's just a couple of things I want to talk about with this rig. So first of all, this is a combination of a handheld rig and a gimbal rig. And what I mean by that is that I actually keep the cage on the camera when I'm wanting to do gimbal work, and it also has the flexibility to be used handheld. It's got a top handle at the top here, and it has side handles here as well, as you can see. So I sort of use the right hand grip on the 90D and then the left hand wooden handle grip here, so that gives it great stability from a handheld shooting point of view. But then I can take off the handle, the monitor, and the left handle very, very quickly and just be able to use the camera on a gimbal, which is great. I've also got some rails on the bottom of the rig here. Now, please don't eat me in the comments here. I have these rails on the system basically to just add some extra weight. Now, I don't ever use the stabilization feature on the Canon 90D. I really try to avoid that because it's sort of a post-processing stabilization. It just doesn't look very good in my opinion. So adding as much weight to the rig as possible, which is also why I've got this battery on my monitor here. It basically just means that you're giving as much weight to the camera as possible, meaning that your footage is going to be much more stable. You're going to have less camera shake than you would just have if you're just holding the camera like that. So this rail system and the base plate is literally there, one, to make it easier to go onto camera tripod systems, but also like I said, for the extra weight. There we go, enough talking. I think let's just go straight into the build and go through this thing piece by piece. All right, so here we have the rig. This is all of the components here. The sort of main proportion, or the most important part here, is the new SmallRig cage. I'll give you guys a slightly closer up look of that. So this is the sort of like tapered design which they're going with for their new cages. But personally, a massive fan of this new sort of SmallRig design, and this has a couple of really nice little features. So first of all is that it screws on with like just a quarter 20 thread like that. And it actually has this little sort of magnetic attachment which just lives in the bottom of the cage there, so we can just screw that on straight away to the 90D. So that will just go in like this. That will just screw directly in to the bottom, just like that. You can screw that. I would say this is like a pretty good fit. It does have a little bit of give in it sometimes, I think, just because it's only one attachment thread and it doesn't look like you have someone else to attach the camera to the cage. But overall, it's fairly tight. It doesn't move around once you've installed it and really tightened it all up. You do need to tighten it up the first time nicely. All right, so that is the cage now installed on the camera, as you can see. Already giving you a little bit more grip on the camera. I mean, the nice thing about the 90D in general is that it's got very good grip, unlike like I'm shooting this on my A6500 and I keep the cage permanently on that camera because it's basically just an absolutely tiny camera body. The 90D has a little bit more of a weight and feel to it, but I do like the feeling of the cage on the camera. All right, so next up, I think we will install the left handle. This is the SmallRig left handle with like wooden left handle, as you can see, and it's got a locating pin. I don't know whether you guys can see that on the end there. There you go. So those sort of help guide it into the holes here on the left hand side. So these will go into this little connection here. So let's just go ahead and screw those in. I have found these sort of new design of locating pins, like they work really well You do have to tighten them quite substantially to make sure that they all fit nice and flush and you don't have much give. So as you can see now, this has a bit of give in the handle. So what I do is so SmallRig have been super kind and actually sent me out this new SmallRig multi-tool, which is awesome. This is what it looks like. It's basically just the SmallRig multi-tool that I absolutely I talk about in all of my rig build videos. These are just super useful if you do camera rig builds often. These have all of the different sort of Allen keys. So what I tend to do is just pull out the smallest Allen key, and then I'll just tighten this by using one of the holes on the connection, and then there we go. That has no give on it now. So that handle is installed on the camera. Nice and easy. All right, so next is the top handle. This again is the sort of wooden style new generation top handle. Again with the locating pins, same deal. This can go straight into the top of the cage here. Let's go ahead and do that. I do like to have a top handle, even if I don't do a ton of shooting like from the hip using the top handle, and I will explain why in a second. So like I don't do a ton of this sort of shooting. However, the main reason I tend to have the top handle on there is actually just for sort of transportation and movement. Like, so convenient to just pick up your rig, pick up your camera using a top handle like this, and that can directly screw on. We can directly screw on the monitor mount. So I'm using the my Atomos Shinobi monitor, just a fantastic monitor. You guys have seen me use this countless times in other rig build videos. I use this for my Blackmagic cinema camera, sort of like $350-ish, and you're getting just a fantastic field monitor. And this is the SmallRig monitor mount, and that just slots directly in to the to this top handle here. So a nice thing, new addition is they have like a release plate on the top here. I don't know whether you can see that, but their release plate on the top handle, so this can slide directly in. And then the Shinobi. I am looking into some kind of system in order to hook up this monitor to the front of the top handle here, because I do think that would be a slightly more ergonomic setup. Haven't found a setup that actually works for that just yet, but they do have, again, another sort of locating pin area here, so it's definitely possible. And then I've used these Sony MPF batteries. These are just newer Sony MPF batteries. I buy those on Amazon. And that powers the Shinobi. Again, I've talked about this before. The reason that I have this weight on instead of sort of powering the camera from these batteries is that, like, I like to, in these rig build videos, fix the problems with the camera. So the monitor on the 90D is great, but it is not super flexible. You can't see it outside fantastically well. So having this extra monitor is a nice big bonus. The battery life on the 90D is actually very good, unlike the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, which is my other sort of quite popular rig build video. So I don't need to work on an external battery solution. I just bring a few of the Canon 90D batteries with me, and that sees me through the entire duration of the shoot. And the extra weight on the battery here just adds to the sort of stabilization on the camera. And again, that is the same reason which I talked about earlier, that I have this base plate. And there's an additional reason. So this is just a set of rails and a SmallRig base plate that can screw on directly. All right, so once that's installed there, another reason I actually have these rails. So first of all is the added weight, as I mentioned before in the intro. Another is that I can, when I'm shooting handheld, so I will have maybe a hand on this handle here, a hand on the right handle of the 90D, but an alternative is to mount my hand underneath like this, and I can actually hold these rails and still pull focus at the same time. I don't know whether you can see that there, but that is a really nice solution to get an extra just point of grip on the rig build, and it just means that I can either pull zoom like this or pull focus like this, and that means that I'm not sort of giving up this point of contact every time to go and pull focus. It means that I can walk around, keep the camera nice and close to my body, and shoot just like that. So there we go, guys. Of course, nothing too revolutionary about this rig build, but you know, it's just building on the fundamentals of the camera. For me, the biggest thing about this is adding some extra weight to the camera and getting it to feel basically just really ergonomic and shooting really great handheld video like the 90D should be able to do. Let me know if you guys have any questions about the build in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. How's it going, everyone? Just a super quick one, and for those of you that didn't read my community post, I've been kind of back and forward on publishing this video today, because obviously in light of everything that's happening in the world right now and with the Black Lives Matter movement, I didn't really want to sort of detract from that conversation. However, I did just decide I decided to publish the video because I know that quite a few people are excited to see it. I'm just not going to promote it like crazy right now. That way I feel like is the good balance between people who want to watch it can watch it, but I'm not sort of clogging up the feed of more important information at the moment. And I will also leave some donation links. If you're not in a position to be able to donate right now, there is a link also down below to a long YouTube video with relevant information in it. And the nice thing about that is that all of that ad revenue is going to the Black Lives Matter charities or organizations. So that's just a really fantastic way to support the movement, even if you're not able to donate right now. So all of those links and things like that will be down below, and I will catch you next time.